Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Fee, and today I'll be doing a lot of code switching in my video, so bear in mind. But guys, guess what? This is no ordinary video. Today I'm gonna cook some real Jamaican food. I'm going to cook some mackerel rundung with some ground provision. So to get started, you first want to mix your flour. And when you mix the flour, it becomes dumpling. So you know that I'm Jamaican, so I don't measure, period. No Jamaican do that. So I went in with some cornmeal and a little salt. Now I'm using some water to make this dough. So what you want to do is make sure you tip the water, meaning put a little at a time in the bowl, because you don't want to put a lot of water in it and then spoil the mixture. So what you want to do is to add a small amount of water until you get the right consistency that you're looking for in the dough. But be mindful, your hands should be very clean to do this. Like, you need to wash your hand properly, clean out your nails before you do this, especially if you're cooking for somebody else, because this is heavy handling and you don't want anybody to get sick because your hands were dirty cooking. So just like when you're baking, you don't want to over mix because you have fault in cake baking. It's the same thing for making dumplings. So if you overwork the gluten in the flour, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about when I say the gluten is actually the protein that's found in flour, and that's like the stretchy or the sticky thing in the flour, that thing that make it stretch, that's the gluten. And you don't want to overwork that, because if you overwork it, then your dumpling is going to become tough. And just like how we Jamaican always say, "Master, the dumpling tough." Why the dumpling tough? And because you don't put too much caramel in the dumpling, just because you don't overwork the flour dough. Now, the second starch item that I'm going to work on is my yam. So yam in America is different from yam in Jamaica. But this is what our yams look like in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. So to select your yam, like to get a good piece of yam, look for the burrs on it. Believe me, it works. Okay. So they have different type of yam, as I was saying. They have white yam, yellow yam, all different kinds. But my favorite yam is yellow yam. So I always buy yellow yam. And most time when you cut it, you know, you just saw the thing on the top, you will always see that most of the time, because they cut it and they probably have it in the store for a long while. So anyway, this is how you peel it. You have to be careful how you peel the yam if it's going to scratch you. Go scratch your skin, okay? I used to be so scared of peeling yam when I was a child. Like, my mother could never get me peel yam if me cut off the whole of the yam. Not even one piece of yam no left. Anyway, this little piece of black something in it, if you decide you want to cut it out, you cut it out. If not, left it, because you're not doing that thing. So what we normally do, we cut our yam and we put them in water, just in case we're not going to put them in the pot at the same time. Like myself right now, my pot is not ready. So what I'm going to do now is to put my yam in some water to slow down the process of enzymatic browning. And what I mean by that is when the oxygen in the air change the color of like your fruit or your yam or your plantain, you know, when it becomes brown. So now I'm going to cut my banana. And before I do that, I want to put some oil on my hands, because if you don't put oil on your hands, they're going to look like this. And I don't want my fingers to look like that. So I put some oil on my hand, and then now I'm going to peel my bananas. And you want to do the same thing for the bananas as you would do for the yam, because you don't want them to change color. And this is how we peel bananas. When you're peeling them, and if anything leave on them, you can always use a knife to cut it off, like a little bit of the skin or something. Always use a knife to cut it off. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if it's your first time watching my video, you are more than welcome to be a part of this family. And also, you can go and check out my other videos. And also share them with your friends and your family, and let them come and be a part of this family. So you probably wonder why my bananas look so brown. What happened is that I put them in the fridge to stop the ripening process. And for those who don't know, we use green bananas to cook or Grand Provision. Voila, y'all learned something today. I think I'm really enjoying this code switching. Tell me what you think in the comment section about it. But I have to try to talk, use a little more English in my videos rather than all patois, because most of my subscribers, they are Americans, and if they subscribe to me, I want them to understand what I'm saying, right? But tell me what you think in the comment section if I should do my videos like this. Some people in Jamaica actually cooks with the green banana peel so that the food don't become brown or red. I'm not sure. If not, somebody can tell me in the comment section why they do that. Disclaimer: all Jamaicans cook different. Every household in Jamaica cooks different. No two Jamaicans cook alike. So I don't cook like how others Jamaican cook because my family don't cook like that. So my family, when we're cooking our ground provision, what we do is we put escallion in the water and a pepper. Normally we use a green pepper, but I didn't have any, so I use the pepper that I have. And we use some thyme in the water and also a little oil. And the reason for doing that, because it gives your ground provision a really nice flavor. And if you didn't know how the cure for gas, hello, pot water is a cure for gas. Pot water is the cure for gas. I can tell you that for sure. My grandmother, I remember when I was a child, my grandmother always give us pot water before she give us our dinner. Every night before we eat dinner, we always get some of the pot water to drink before we eat our dinner. Whether you have gas or not, she give you some of the pot water. And you know what she used to do too? Sometimes if she don't have the oil, she put the butter in it, and the butter make the water taste so good. So don't come tell me about, and I saw people cook ground provision, come and know how in a Jamaican say, don't come for me down in the comment section. Now I'm going to make my dumplings. And I know in America, they eat dumplings with like meat inside of it, just like the Chinese. We don't eat our dumplings like that. We just mix the dough just like I did earlier in the video. And then now we're just gonna put it in the shape that we want and just cook it. So I cannot make good dumpling, like the best shaped dumpling to save my life. But what I do is good enough, trust me. I just did not catch that part when my mother and my grandmother was showing me. My dumpling just never come out as great as theirs, like the perfect form dumpling. But this is how I make mine. So now I'm going to go in with my dumplings. And when you put your food in your pot, you always want to stir the pot. And the reason why you want to stir the pot, because you want to make sure that none of your food is stick to the bottom of the pot. You can have a pot full of water. Once the food settles to the bottom, it can still burn. So make sure when you put your food in, you keep stirring the pot so none of your food stick to the bottom of the pot. And then now I'm going to go in with my bananas. So if you didn't realize, what I was doing was actually putting the food that take a longer time to cook. And the yam was the one that takes the longest time to cook. And then I went in with the flour. And why I went in with the flour second, because the cornmeal is in the flour and you need to cook the cornmeal properly. So next was the bananas, and they really don't take a lot of time to cook. And then yes, I went in with the corn, because the corn, they take legit 7 minutes to cook. And then to test to see if your food is cooked, what you're going to do is take a fork and just push it through your food. And then once it goes through, then you know it's cooked. So now I'm going to start on the mackerel rundown. And in order to make my mackerel rundown, I need to use mackerel, and I'm going to use the pickle mackerel. And the way that they preserve these mackerel is in vinegar and salt water. And what the vinegar does, it actually helps to soften the bones of the mackerel, and the salt and the vinegar actually help to cook the mackerel. So that's why you can actually eat your mackerel without you cook it, because the salt, and the vinegar cooks cooks it. Just like how I said it in my sweet and sour shrimp video, that you can use citrus to cook your shrimp. You can actually use vinegar and salt to cook too. So that's what it actually does. So I'm going to scald my mackerel, and I'm going to use only 5 minutes to do that. Like some people use longer, but hello, it's already cooked. Why make a cook it out and then me have to cook it again in the mackerel sauce? So 5 minutes is enough. Once me can pick off like the bone, like the fin, it done. Me take it out of the water. And then I'm going to run it under some tap water to stop the cooking process. So now there's a skin on the mackerel. You can take it off if you want. It's not a big deal. You don't have to. So actually we're going to clean up the mackerel right now. And you're probably wondering, so why do you cook it before you clean it? The thing is, it's easier to remove the bones when you actually scald the mackerel first. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to remove the bones and the fin that is on it, because you don't need all of that in your pot. So I remember back in the days when I was a child, me, my cousins, and my siblings, we used to have a grand time eating those bones. We love eating the bones. My grandmother, my auntie, my mom, they always give us the bones because they're so salty. So you can just suck on them and it is really nice. So we always ask for them. So if you have kids around the house that's big enough, give them the bones. And you really want to remove the bones out of the fish because, especially if you're cooking for kids, you don't want to give them the bone to eat because you know what's going to happen, right? I'm going to saute my veggies for my mackerel rundung sauce. And for those who don't know what's a mackerel rundung, it's a stewed fish that's cooked in coconut milk with tomato and other veggies. And it's a thick sauce. It's made from the coconut milk, and you allow the coconut milk to simmer, and then you add your mackerel in it. You'll see me do it in the video. So you may know you don't have to use this particular coconut milk powder. You can use whatever one you have. You can use a canned one. You can use the dry coconut from the tree. Whatever you want to do once it's coconut milk. So as you see, I sauteed some of the veggies, and then now I add the coconut milk in the pot. Now I'm going to allow it to simmer, and then when it gets thick, I'm going to add the mackerel to it and the other veggies that I have. And don't forget that my recipe is always in the description box below. And if you ever try any of my recipes, please remember to send me pictures so I can post them on my Instagram page. So now that you mix everything together, that's the mackerel and the other veggies, you want to make sure you taste your sauce now before you allow those veggies to steam. You want to taste your sauce to see if it's too salty or if you need to add a little seasoning in it. I put a little bit of all-purpose in mine because it could take a little, because I did scald my mackerel very good, so it kind of take out most of the salt out of it, which is really good. So you just want to allow this to simmer or to steam for like 5 minutes and just remove it from the stove, or probably not so long, 3 minutes, because if you still want your veggie to be crunchy, because I love my veggie crunchy, so I didn't allow mine to be on the stove for too long. So you remembered the dumpling that we made earlier, the corn that we made earlier, the yam and the bananas. Here they are, looking so yummy in the plate. Anyway, now I'm finished with my mackerel rundown, and you can see how thick my sauce is. Remember, I was telling you need to have a thick sauce, so you need to, some people make it runny. So as I said, everybody cook different. Some people make it runny, but I actually make mine thick because that's how I learned to do it. Okay, so that's it. You could actually smell the coconut coming from it. As you can see how creamy it looks. Yes, a lot of coconut milk is in that, my love. And trust me, it tastes so good. You know, it's like you just bring back a lot of memories from childhood days. Like, oh my God. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.